Welcome to Tech Driven Dialogues, the podcast where we connect the global tech dots. From Sao Paulo to Silicon Valley, from Lagos to Lisbon. I'm your host, Dennis Taylor, and I'm back today. We're diving deep into something you probably didn't expect. How Latin America is becoming a global powerhouse, a global force in artificial intelligence. That's right. While the world's eyes are often on the United States and China, Latin America is quietly but powerfully redefining the future of tech in a way that's sustainable, diverse, and inclusive. We'll explore how countries like Brazil, Colombia, and Chile are using clean energy, local innovation, and multilingual AI tools to change the game. Let's get into it. Now let's start with what makes Latin America uniquely positioned. Why Latin America could lead in AI? Let's break this down. Why in the world is Latin America, a region often left out of the major tech conversations, suddenly being recognized as a serious player in the future of artificial intelligence? Well, first, and this might surprise you, it all starts with energy. See, AI isn't just about smart code and machine learning algorithms. It's energy hungry. Every AI tool, every chatbot, every language model relies on massive data centers, and those data centers burn through electricity like crazy. Now, here's where Latin America steps in with a unique advantage. Renewable energy. Countries like Brazil, Chile, and Costa Rica are sitting on massive amounts of hydropower, solar, and wind energy. Brazil alone gets over 80% of its electricity from renewable sources. That makes it one of the greenest energy grids on the planet and an ideal home for powering large-scale AI operations. That's why global infrastructure players are moving in. Let's take Rio AI City for an example. An ambitious new development in Rio de Janeiro that's being built to support AI research and data centers powered entirely by clean energy. Let me put it to you this way. If Silicon Valley had the kind of clean, cheap energy Brazil does right now, there'd be a tech gold rush. In Latin America, that rush is starting and it's green. Now let's shift gears to something else that gives Latin America an edge. Diversity, cultural, and linguistic. Most major AI systems today are trained in English and are focused on North American or European data sets. That creates a major bias in how AI interacts with people outside of those regions. But Latin America is stepping up to change that. Countries like Peru, Mexico, and Colombia are building AI tools in Spanish, Portuguese, and even indigenous languages, ensuring that people across the region aren't just using AI, they're shaping it. This linguistic diversity isn't just feel good, it's strategic. Tech companies know that reaching billions of people worldwide means moving beyond English. Latin America is one of the most linguistically rich regions in the world, and developers here are embedding that richness into every architecture of AI. Now, we're talking about chatbots that can speak regional Spanish dialects, machine learning models that understand cultural nuances, healthcare AI that can process local medical terminology. This isn't just copy and paste tech, it's localized innovation. And finally, the third reason Latin America is rising in the AI space, their talent. The region has some of the fastest growing tech education pipelines in the world. Thanks to coding boot camps, university programs, and remote work expansion. We're seeing more and more AI engineers and data scientists emerging from Brazil, Argentina, and Colombia. And here's the kicker. These developers are world class, but because of regional economic differences, companies can hire them at a lower cost than the United States or European engineers. That makes Latin America a prime destination for outsourcing AI research, product development, and testing. And if you add it all up, renewable energy, cultural intelligence, and a talented workforce, you've got a region that's not just playing catch up, it's leading the way on its own terms. You want proof that it's happening right now? Okay, we've covered why Latin America has the potential to lead in AI. But now, let's talk about what's actually happening on the ground. Real world projects that prove this isn't theory. Let's start with Brazil. Right now, Rio de Janeiro is launching something called Rio AI City. Now, this is a full-blown renewable powered innovation district being designed as a hub for artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and quantum research. The goal? To attract global tech companies, build local startups, and make Rio the AI capital of Latin America. It's a partnership between government, private enterprise, and international cloud infrastructure players. And it's centered around Brazil's access to renewable energy and cheap land near fiber optic routes. Basically, they're building the South American version of Silicon Valley, but with the sustainability first mindset. And it's not just for a buzz. Infrastructure is already underway. There are data centers going up, investment incentives in place, and universities feeding in AI talent. So, if you thought AI was only being shaped in San Francisco and Shanghai, think again. Rio is going for it, and they're doing it clean. Next, let's zoom in on a different application, agriculture. Latin America is one of the most largest food producers. And in places like Brazil and Argentina, AI is transforming how crops are grown, livestock is managed, and food is distributed. One standout example, Bove Control. It's a Brazilian agri-tech startup that uses machine learning and mobile data to help farmers track cattle, growth rates, and weight gain in real time. Now, instead of manually guessing how a herd is doing, farmers get smart analytics, all from their smartphones. That means better efficiency, less waste, and more income for farmers who were traditionally excluded from advanced tech. We're also seeing AI-powered soil, sensors, drone crop monitoring, and predictive models for climate patterns to help farmers plant and harvest smarter. These aren't futuristic ideas. They're already being used across Brazil, Chile, and Peru. And it's solving a very Latin American challenge, feeding massive populations across unpredictable climate zones. Let me give you guys a quick stat. By 2026, Latin America's smart agriculture market is expected to top 1.5 billion. That's a huge leap for a region that's used to rely entirely on manual farming. Finally, let's talk about Colombia. While it may not have the size of energy of Brazil, Colombia is punching above its weight in one surprising area: quantum computing talent. Through partnerships with universities and private labs, Colombia is training the next generation of AI and quantum scientists. Now, why does that matter? Because AI is just the start. The future is AI plus quantum, and Colombia is laying the groundwork for it. In fact, there's a new initiative out in Bogota that focuses on building open access AI frameworks for Latin American developers, so they can train and experiment without needing Silicon Valley resources. And this is important. It means Latin America isn't just consuming global tech, they're building their own. So, is Brazil building the infrastructure? Argentina is optimizing agriculture with AI, and Colombia is developing the minds and systems that might just shake the next wave of computing? If that's not a region on the rise, I don't know what it is. So far, we've covered why Latin America could lead the AI wave, and we've looked at what's already happening on the ground. But let's be real. Every opportunity comes with a challenge. Latin America is on the rise, no doubt about it, but there are still hurdles that can't be ignored. The first, and maybe the biggest, is infrastructure. While cities like Rio and Sao Paulo are developing fast, many parts of Latin America still suffer from limited high-speed internet, unreliable electricity, and the lack of access to GPUs and cloud computing power. Now, if you're a developer in a rural part of Ecuador or Bolivia, it's not just about talent, it's about connectivity. AI development isn't possible without access to data, compute power, and reliable cloud infrastructure. And that's why governments and private players need to invest heavily in digital infrastructure, especially outside of capital cities, because innovation isn't just happening in Sao Paulo, it's happening in small towns too, if they get the access. The second challenge is governance. Latin America is still defining how it wants to regulate artificial intelligence. The EU has the AI Act. The United States has a patchwork of federal and state policies. Latin America, it's building something new and in many ways, better. What we're seeing is a push for responsible AI built with a focus on equity, so it doesn't leave behind non-English speakers or rural communities. Transparency, making sure AI systems are explainable. Environmental impact, making AI sustainable, not just profitable. This region is offering something that a lot of the tech world is still struggling with: a values-based framework for AI. They're saying, we don't want to be a copy of Silicon Valley. We want to build our own model, one that reflects who we are. And that's powerful. But there's a twist to these challenges. There are also the opportunity. Latin America has a chance to shape how AI is developed and deployed, not by being the biggest, but by being the most intentional. Think about it. The world is looking for ways to create ethical, inclusive, and sustainable tech. And Latin America might just be the blueprint for how that's done. Now, with collaboration between governments, startups, investors, and international partners, the region can close the infrastructure gap, define global AI standards, and create a more balanced tech future. A future that's not just fast, but fair. Why the world should be paying attention? So, let's bring this home. We've talked about why Latin America has the resources, the talent, the momentum to lead the next wave of AI. We've looked at Brazil's energy advantage, Colombia's talent pipeline, and how AI is transforming agriculture across the region. But here's the real takeaway from all of us. Whether you're listening from New York, Nairobi, London, or Lagos, this isn't just about Latin America. This is about the future of tech being multipolar, multilingual, and globally driven. You know, for too long, tech has been defined by a few major players: Silicon Valley, China's megacities, and a handful of European capitals. But now, we're seeing new power centers emerge, and Latin America is proving that you don't need to dominate. You need to innovate your way forward with your own values, your own resources, and your own people. This is a region saying, we don't want to just consume technology. We want to create it. We want to shape it, export it, own it. And the rest of the world should be watching, not just as observers, but as collaborators. You know, what if we stopped thinking of tech innovation as a race and started thinking of it as a network, with each region adding its own superpower? Latin America's superpower is sustainability, diversity, and inclusion. In an age where those values are becoming more important than ever, this region might just become the moral compass of global AI. So if you're a founder, an engineer, a policymaker, or just someone who cares about the future of technology, start looking south. The next great tech stories aren't just being written in Silicon Valley. They're being written in Sao Paulo, Medellin, Buenos Aires, and beyond. And here at Tech Driven Dialogues, we'll keep bringing you those stories. Now, if you loved this episode, share it with someone who's ready to think globally. Hit subscribe, leave a comment or review, and let us know, which country do you think is the next global tech powerhouse? And if you're from Latin America and working on something incredible in tech, DM me. Let's get you on the show. Next episode, we're heading to Africa to explore how smart cities and fintech are transforming daily life. Again, I'm Dennis Taylor. This is Tech Driven Dialogues, and we're just getting started. Sayuji.